What's up? What's
What's
happening?
up?
How you
I don't think
doing?
anybody saw this coming.
A
Yeah, what's up,
fireside chat.
Yeah, man, it's been way too long. It feels like a million years ago.
Yeah.
Um, I guess. Well, we've been playing D&D since then, so it's been off and on.
Hang
We
out.
still
Yep.
see each other.
Yep.
It's just that in the context of the show, I guess. Um, for everybody that's watching that maybe doesn't know, or the people that are fans of Comically Gaming, Nate and I used to be on a show called Comically Gaming, um, where we talked all kinds of awesome stuff and had debates, and
Yeah. A
we got
weekly talk show.
weekly talk show, and we covered everything under the sun from games and comics to culture.
Lots of culture in there.
Lots of culture, yeah.
Yep.
So basically, I just wanted to. I think we just both wanted to rehash what we've been doing since the end of the show.
Yeah.
I'm just. This is obviously posted now on my personal YouTube account, but we just wanted to rehash the what we've done since the end of the show, and then after that, talk about next gen consoles. Just because this is a big year,
It's
not
exciting.
just not just for the consoles, but the games that are going to be
Yeah,
released
for
for
sure.
said consoles. Yeah,
I think the
um,
games coming out this year are going to be the best of everything that we've seen so far. I feel like if they
right.
deliver on their promise.
That 1 month is just brutal. What is
Yeah.
it? Well, everything. Well, I take that back because a lot of the
Stuff
stuff has
shifted.
been. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
been kind of, which I think is smart on everybody's.
Yeah.
Because competing in release months like that, people
Yeah.
aren't gonna do two, three
For
games at a time.
For sure. Like I feel like I don't know where you're at, Dirk, but I feel like of everything that's announced for this year, the three games that I really am committing to play this year are Final Fantasy VII, Cyberpunk, and The Last of Us, right? And it's weird, like my old man schedule, right? Like Final Fantasy VII will probably take me 8 months or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad that Cyberpunk pushed so far into the fall. It does put Cyberpunk in this weird spot because my PS4 is garbage right now. It's about to fall apart. I literally take two ice packs and put one underneath it and one on top of it when I play to keep it from overheating and dying. Because I don't want to buy a new
jeez,
one because the PS5 is right around the corner and I got money
right?
ready for the PS5. And so I'd rather play Cyberpunk on the PS5, to be honest. Like, so
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me that that one got pushed out. But Final Fantasy comes out before The Last of Us, and I feel like they're almost a month apart. I feel like I'm gonna start playing Final Fantasy, and then when The Last of Us comes, I'm just gonna pause and play The Last of Us, and then go back to Final Fantasy, and
hmm
hopefully finish that before Cyberpunk comes out. Like that's kind of my plan for the year. But man,
yeah,
those games are gonna hopefully be so great. I'm really excited for all those. What
yes,
you got
agreed.
any other games on the horizon that you care about?
Um, I don't. I think I saw a few that I was curious about, and I was like, oh, I might try those. But to be honest, the three that you named, I'm probably gonna be preoccupied. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to wrap up Breath of the Wild right now,
Okay.
and I think as soon as I'm done with that, I mean, there's a few others I'm playing. Like I'm playing Hollow Knight right now. There's several in a row, but those are like games that you clear your schedule for.
Yeah.
Those
Right.
three
Right.
that you name. So I'm shutting everything else down when those three, specifically Cyberpunk, and I might do like you said and wait until next gen, get the PS5 for it because I feel like it's gonna be so gorgeous and
Right.
a great introduction to that console.
I
Also,
know. I have the 4K TV now, so I really want to play that game in 4K. You know what I mean? That with
yes,
that aesthetic and art style, like the sharper it is, the better. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so
agreed.
yeah, yeah.
So before we get to the next gen talk, I think Nate, you affectionately call this section "quick hits."
Look
That's
at
perfect. Quick
let's
hits.
do
So, what have you been doing since the conclusion of the
it.
show?
Yeah, so some of these are just like things that came out that I wanted to ask you about, but some of
Yeah.
it's really just all the big stuff that happened since we stopped. First of all, you and I both have Switches now in our
Yes.
homes, right? So I know like you talk a lot about your Switch, and it's funny, like I do feel like since I got it, I don't have a desire to play it. Like I honestly am still playing my PlayStation Vita to try
Well,
and
there you
finish
go.
Final Fantasy X that I started like a year ago, and and I don't know, like the Zelda, the Game Boy game, I forget what it's called. Um,
Link's Awakening.
yes, that you like that a lot,
I
right?
I beat it.
Did you? Did
Yeah,
and you do enjoy it,
I
correct?
loved it. It
Yeah,
was one
so
of my
I've
favorite games of the year.
right, right. That's awesome. So that's the one that we have that I'm excited to get to. Like that
Yeah.
one is definitely on my list. I've never played that game, and yeah, that one looks awesome. But other than that, like all those games that are the best on it, I've already played a lot of on the Wii U.
Hmm.
To be honest, like I feel like the Wii U people so far haven't been served by the Switch. To be honest, right? And
Right.
and I get how awesome
Yeah.
the Switch is. My kid takes his over to his friends, and they all have them, and they're all popping the same game together on their
Hmm.
own Switches. Like that's really cool, but that's not my life. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm never in that situation, so that side
Yeah.
of it doesn't call me to it either.
Yeah.
So,
No,
but
I agree.
I'll drop everything the second that the new Zelda comes out, the Breath of the Wild
I
sequel.
can't watch the trailer yet.
Yeah,
I
I'll drop
can't.
everything. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I
I
wouldn't
can't
if
see
I were
it
you.
because I'm probably well, I think I've got about 15 hearts. That should give you an idea. My stamina wheel is 2.5, I
Yeah,
guess. Gives you an idea where I'm at.
sure.
Maybe
Totally.
halfway to God.
I feel like that's where I was though when I finished it. How many hearts do you have?
About 15.
Yeah, do you have the Master Sword?
Yes.
Yeah, you're ready. You're
Yeah.
ready. Yeah, just
Well,
go at it.
I
Just make a
just
run at
got
it.
I got a bunch of shrines to do. I probably have like 3 more areas to clear.
Sure.
And then I hit the divine beast.
So the my kid now, my
Yeah.
youngest, he plays that game so hardcore. Like he's beat it multiple times, and every time I walk into the room when he's playing it, he's doing some insane thing that you never would have expected or thought that you would do in a Zelda game. Like it really
Crazy.
is. He's
Crazy
opened
game.
my eyes to how crazy that world is. Like I remember, I think it was like the second Metal Gear when they put out like the demo for that game, and you were running around on the ship, like sneaking around and doing things for a mission. I remember I had so much fun with that because of just like the random things that you could do with the game. And
Hmm.
like he plays Zelda like that. You know what I mean? Like he's purposefully looking for like the weirdest things that you can go and do. And he comes in with all this like he's wearing like some weird bag on his head where he looks like a scarecrow or something, you know what I mean? And he's fighting, the biggest monsters in the game and just like dominating them in 3 shots and stuff. He's got
My
all the gear
God.
you could possibly imagine. Like he's really hardcore about it. So it's cool because I don't have time to play games like that at all. But
No.
but it's cool if I get to see that some of that stuff. You know what I mean? When I just walk in
I'm,
on them.
I'm exactly the opposite of
Right. Same.
son. Yeah.
I'm
I got
trying
a
to mainline the
guide.
story.
Yes. With a guide and trying to just bust through everything. No, I think the Switch itself might not be special. What it fulfills for me is a mobile device that I don't
Sure.
have. I mean,
Right.
it's literally the only and it kind of, I will say this, it caters to the mobile experience with the movement, you know, and all that funny stuff. I do enjoy that. I like the
Yeah.
little arrow shooting and yada
Sure.
yada. Corey told me he took the motion sensors like off
I
immediately.
I also turned it off. I turned all that stuff off. It
Yeah,
reminds me too much of the Wii Waggle stuff, and I hated
yeah.
that.
I didn't even. The thing is, I didn't even know it was an option.
Yeah.
I guess I probably would have if I had started in it, but I'm so deep
Sure.
in it now, it doesn't matter. But
Totally.
yeah, it just fulfills the mobile scratch that I don't, the mobile itch that I don't I don't normally, I don't have otherwise. You
Yeah.
know, it's my own device.
I hear
So,
you. That's my
and
Vita.
a
I
lot
still
of
rock my
times,
Vita all the time. So
yeah,
I
there's
get
just
it.
a lot
Yeah.
of times I don't have access to the TV that the PlayStation's on. I mean, it's just so we're able to put a lot of things on at once while I'm playing and watching
Well,
Jeopardy or whatever. So,
and you get the added bonus of this totally different library also, right? Like
yes,
that's also really awesome. You know what I mean? As an added bonus, that's a good one.
that's what I bought it for,
Yeah.
is Zelda. I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I got it for.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So, what
All right.
else?
So as we start going down this list, let's say no spoilers, just so we don't get people turning off the
Okay.
show because they will possibly get a random spoiler about something. So this one I have never run past you. You probably haven't seen it, but have you even heard of or have you seen the Dracula on Netflix right now?
No, my friend talked about it and he really liked it. He said he did not like the end, I think the third episode or the ending,
Okay.
but he liked the series as a whole.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you watched it. It's 3 hour and a half shows, so it's
Hmm.
almost like you're watching three movies. It's made by the dudes who make the Sherlock show on the BBC.
Yeah.
And it feels like that. It feels BBC for sure. The
Really?
humor and stuff in it, and
Yeah.
so it's a little, I don't know how to say it and not sound stupid. It's just a little cheeky and stuff. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like it's
yeah.
got that sense of humor to it that is we're usually more serious in our stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but it's really good. I think it's worth your time for sure. It's if you know anything about Dracula, even the smallest touch, it does really cool stuff with some of the characters in the lore of Dracula. That is it's cool. Cool.
Check it out.
So The Witcher, the TV show. So
Yeah.
I'm only through 4 episodes. No spoilers about the story of it.
Right.
You like it, yes?
I like it, but it's a series that I like in by almost by episode, I would say, or actually in sections. I would say the season I could break down into sections. I would
Okay.
say the first half I enjoyed, and I know people had some issues with things.
Sure.
And then like towards the end, there's like 2 episodes before the last two that I didn't care for at all. Two
Okay.
episodes. And then the
Interesting.
last two I really liked.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm going to finish it for sure. You know what I mean? I like The Witcher enough to do that, but I dislike it enough that I haven't done that already. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't like it. I think I actually think that Henry Cavill is decent. Like, it's not his fault that I don't like it, but there's something about the production of it that just seems cheesy to me. Like,
CW.
a little bit, a little bit. It's like I feel like we got spoiled with the costuming in like Game of Thrones, in like the Lord of the Rings fantasy movies and stuff. We're that this Witcher show it's a step below that, and it makes these medieval looking people look cheesy to me, and they're
Right.
all, the peasantry is very clean, and you know what I mean, it just has this air to it that just makes it seem the world doesn't, I don't buy the world, you know what I mean, and that's my favorite thing about The Witcher is the world, you know what I mean, of the
Yeah.
that it's in. So yeah, I have a few gripes about the story, knowing because I've read the book. I know every episode. I know the story. I've read it before, the story that's happening, and it's all, and every one of them is better in the book, of course.
I
But
imagine so, yeah.
but that doesn't bug me as much as, just like I say, it's just
The
there's something
production
about
value.
it. Yeah, that just it just doesn't step up to the best that's out there today. You know what I mean? So it's cool.
I didn't see that. I didn't see your point until episode 7, and then I hated those 2 episodes, 7 and 8. I was just
Yeah.
like, this is awful, and I kind of want to quit watching this. But I
Right.
powered through to 9, and I was so glad I got to those last 2 episodes.
Okay,
The
well
last
that's
episode
awesome.
is really good. Yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
But I definitely see your point.
Sure.
I do like their treatment of magic in some ways. I felt like their approach on magic was different because the other shows are so realistic in some ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess with Lord of the Rings, you have fantasy. You don't really have magic outside of Gandalf for the
Right.
most part. You have
Yeah, but
some.
he's pretty extreme in some
Yes, he is.
points. You know.
Right. But so I like the whole approach of a school of magic in there. I
Yeah.
felt like it was kind of D&D ish the
Sure.
way they kind of tackled that. But yeah, I definitely agree that the production value, y'all need to step it up for season 2 if y'all want to
Yeah.
keep this going.
Hopefully, it's very popular. You know, what I mean, it's their most popular show now, so it passed up
Yeah,
Stranger Things. So you know they're going to dump some money into it. So
that's what I'm
hopefully,
hoping.
yeah, hopefully they can tighten up that side of it, and it'll be better in season 2 for me as well.
Absolutely.
The Irishman.
Okay.
You seen it?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
Um, I liked it a lot. I thought it was way too long. I appreciated the history that was shown in it, the history lesson, even though it's
Yeah.
incorrect in a lot of
Right.
ways, apparently. Um, I thought it was stereotypically a what's the drawing a blank on the filmmaker right now. Oh my God, Scorsese.
Scorsese.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. So I thought it was a sort of stereotypical for a Scorsese film in
Sure.
some ways.
Sure.
I thought the ending was my favorite part. I'm not gonna say anything, but
Yeah.
there was a depiction of life towards the end of the film that I appreciated. That was not stereotypical of a Scorsese film in a lot of ways.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's my basic. I mean, I really liked it, but yeah, there's some nuance in there.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also liked it. I think I agree it was too long. But it didn't. I don't know. To me, that's still not a negative
No,
against
no.
it in my mind. You know,
Yeah.
I get what he was doing. Of those actors all together, I prefer Casino. I think
Mhm.
Casino's a better
Oh,
movie than this one. You
absolutely.
know, um,
Absolutely.
but it was cool to see them all at this age and stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was interesting. I thought it was striking, and I'm surprised that nobody really talked about the fact that it like had zero women characters at all, like none. Like they were literally like just background props, smoking and looking nice around them as they went about their road trip or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, even
Yeah.
him like getting divorced from
God.
his wife was just like a one sentence narration. It wasn't, you know what I mean, a point at all. So that was a
Yeah.
little weird. But other than that, you know, in particular, De Niro, he's so he has officially just turned it into himself, but it's
Yes.
still compelling to watch. You know what I mean? Like there's some of those actors where like you don't get something different out of them. Like I feel like even like Bill Murray nowadays, you can watch a Bill Murray movie and not really know what to expect going into it, and
Mm.
get a different thing from him. You know what I mean? In a way that you wouldn't have thought Bill Murray would be able to do now. But and I think like De Niro's almost the opposite of that. He's very much just him, you
He's
know,
just De
hanging out.
Niro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no acting really going
Right.
on.
Right. Totally. Okay.
I did like Pesci. Pesci, I
I
really
agree.
liked his performance. I thought it was very understated. Like he wasn't typical hothead Pesci. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
it
Yeah.
was another direction for him. So it was
Yeah,
odd to
he was the
see.
best. He was
Yep.
the best of all the actors, I thought, for sure. It was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, awesome. Star Wars. What what'd you think?
uh, I think I was high on it until I talked to you.
Sorry, I know. My
You
buddy
brought me
Mark did
back
it to
down to
me.
earth, and I couldn't unsee the things that you were talking about. I was like,
Right.
"Oh wow, he's got a point." Uh, but I mean, in terms of like spectacle, it was nice. You know?
Yeah, sure. I agree. The I love Adam Driver. I think he
Yes.
was the best thing about all the movies, and he's definitely the best thing about this one. You know,
Okay.
he's the best part of those movies, and just was really really great. So,
Yeah.
uh, I
Agreed.
yeah he's the only one out of all of them that I can look at and say, wow, that acting job is great. You know what I mean? Like he's the Ewan McGregor of this trilogy, I feel like.
Yes, and I feel like he took it seriously. I'm not saying that the other ones didn't,
Yeah,
but he's gonna be the one you remember from this trilogy like 10 years
definitely.
from now. Yeah,
Definitely.
the
And I've
most.
loved every other movie that I've seen him in also that's not Star Wars too. Like
Right.
his range
That
is
helps.
like crazy, you know, so um
Marriage Story. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, love him. But yeah, you brought up the point, I did a spoiler there and we edited it out, but the without really talking about the story is the part that it throws me too much. And I did come out of the theater very positive. Like the very first night, I was like, "What is everybody talking about? This is fine. You guys are a
Hmm.
bunch of nitpickers or whatever." And then, as it kind of sat with me for a few days, I was.
Yeah.
But by the end of the week, I was soured on it.
Yeah.
So I still it's complicated now. Like I didn't put on this list. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
I've watched like 3 episodes,
Oh,
and I
okay.
really like it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, good. So we'll talk more about that later. But that's really great. And
Yeah.
the I don't care about theme parks. I'm for whatever reason I don't care about theme parks. That doesn't have any pull on me at all. And
The game.
yeah, yeah, Fallen Order is good. Also, Fallen Order wasn't on my list. I don't think it's as good as people give it credit for. I think people are just so starved for a good Star Wars game that
Right.
they're overhyped about this one. But it is good, and I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy who stars in it.
Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah, yes,
I think that's it.
they do a good job of you can tell that it's him acting. It's almost as good as what's his name in Death Stranding, Norman
Yeah.
Reedus.
Norman
Those
Reedus.
two
Yeah.
acting performance in video games, I think, are the first two that have been good. Like we've seen big
Mhm.
name actors in video games many times over the years, and it's always come off as really bad cutscenes that seem very disconnected from the rest of the game and whatnot.
Right.
And I feel
Right.
like those two games have, and those two actors have changed that now. So like,
Wow.
I feel like it's a stepping it up moment that people will have to react to going forward, and working
Yeah.
with actors and stuff in these movies. Like, I think they both
He
did very well.
he's a Joker in Gotham, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of, I saw that also. I've been watching all the Best Picture nominees. So
Oh yeah,
I
Joker's on
saw
here
like
too.
I saw
Look at the Joker.
Joker. Yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, and
Okay, those other two that you just said. What did you think about them? I haven't seen those yet, but I'm highly anticipating
they're
both of them.
both incredible.
Are they?
Parasite, though, is one of the best films I've ever seen, like, period.
Okay.
Not
All right.
just this year. um,
Okay.
I can absolutely see why all the buzz is, like, crazy around it because it's
Cool.
just so. It's like a pinnacle of filmmaking. I mean, it's just. I could do a whole show on it, but
Okay.
um,
Awesome.
and then I'm up and down about Tarantino for the most part, and my wife didn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as much as I did, but I loved it. I thought it's not prototypical violent, you know, until a certain scene, but for the most part, it's like it's the level of research that he put into it that I found was just incredible, like
Yeah.
incredible, and references to other of his films, other
Sure.
Tarantino films are referenced throughout. So look for those
Right.
Easter eggs if you watch it.
It's nice. I definitely will. I'm not afraid to say that dude's my favorite like modern filmmaker for sure.
Yes,
I love everything he's ever done. To be honest, I really do.
right. Well, this is
And
one of the best. I think this is like a
okay,
top
good.
5 Tarantino film in my opinion.
All right, awesome.
And it's long too, which is shocking. Like really
Yeah,
long.
nice. Okay, cool. What do I got? Oh, next I have Death Stranding. Right? Did you beat Death Stranding?
No, because
Okay,
but I am high on it though. I'm not as high because I started playing Breath of the Wild and it kind of
sure.
ate away some of my time.
Right.
But yes, when I get into Death Stranding, when I like sit there and kind of commit, I
Yeah.
I lose track of time. I mean,
Totally, totally. I love the moments. You know, it's got the whack story, but we won't really talk about the story other than the fact that it's whack. But the the moments like when you're walking across the landscape and then a song kicks in the background and it all
oh
feels
man,
right. There's like
yeah,
there's not too many zen moments like that in video games. To me it's very very reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus. That
uh-huh.
game I feel like had those kind of moments where it was just like, oh my god, I'm having a really great experience, and it's not like shooting something or platforming or like all this other
Yeah,
stuff. You
that's
know what I
what it
mean? It's
is.
just like it seems like it's all vision. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's really really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting back to it. I hope to have time to play it between when I finish 10 and 7 comes out. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. All right. Breath of the Wild is what I had next. I feel like we talked a lot about it already.
Yes.
I still feel like it's one of the greatest games of all time for sure. It's in my top 10. I don't know. Are you that high on it, or do you need to see it through to completion before you can really
Uh,
talk about
I don't know how high on. I mean, the thing is, like, I find myself just drawn back to it, like
it? Mhm.
more and more. But I really needed a guide to help me. If I had just played
Sure.
it with nothing,
Right.
oh, I would have put it down. I
Right.
just would have, you know.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
once I started like having some help, then it opened it up, and then I started seeing what the game for what it is. I think if I had had more time on my hands to play
Of
a game
course.
like that,
Yeah.
that'd
Of
be a
course.
whole different story, you know.
Right.
But I just
Right.
don't have that kind of time these days. So, but playing it, man, it is like when I when I got the Master Sword, I felt like the game like stepped ahead some more, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I was so used to doing the shrine thing that I had gotten
Right.
used to that and the resources. Like when that happened, I was like, whoa, it's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. So I'm looking forward to the end because I have a feeling it's going to be much like that.
Yeah, yeah, the game's great. That's what, and it is. It's almost two different games. Like what you and I enjoy out of it is this cool story, right? Like I think the story is even under kind of sold by critiques and whatnot of the
Mhm.
game because for me, like I pretty much mainlined the story and as much as you can, really.
Yeah.
And it was still like a 30-hour experience or something. It was great the whole way through. Cool things happened and cool characters got introduced. Like I just really, really, really enjoyed that game. But then the flip side of it, like I was talking about earlier with my kid, like it's so wide open if you want it to be. If you want to go
Yeah,
really dig into the nooks and crannies of that world, it gets crazy in them when you get
it
to them. You know
is.
what I mean? So yeah, it's cool. It's really really an accomplishment. I can't
Some
wait
of
for.
those puzzles are a whole different level. I mean, have
Yeah,
not been tackled really in games before.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I
dealing with
agree.
motion and stuff, it's just like wow. But
Yep,
the thinking that went behind it is just incredible.
yep, absolutely. Um, so then I have here Final Fantasy X because I'm in the depths of it. Have you ever
Uh-huh.
played that game?
Is that the one with the sport?
Yes.
Yes. I man, it's been ages. Like I
Sure.
played the original one, yeah. But
Gotcha.
yes.
So I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Oh, it was
That's
great.
my review of it. I'm uh I'm at the final boss and I decided to go on a little grinding party before I came back so I could really lay it on him. And like I since I got to the final boss, I've put another 12 hours in at this point, and I've got to get one spear unlocked to get Ultima. So I'm just trying
Oh,
to do that. And
nice.
then once I come at him, I know my characters are beefy right now. And when I come at him with Ultima too, I'm just gonna pound him and pound him. Roll credits. But yeah, I love it. I love it, and it's super beautiful on the Vita.
Oh, I
It's the
can
best looking
imagine.
game that I've seen on the Vita. It's really
Is
good.
that the blonde dude that's super tan? And
Yes.
okay, yeah, I do remember that one. That was awesome. That was probably my second favorite under seven.
Yeah. It it very well might be for me when I'm done with it too. It's really great.
Yeah.
Um, Watchmen, you watch it?
We're about 6 episodes in, I think.
Oh
Six or
man.
yeah, 6 or 7.
God.
It's
You
so
got to call me
incredible.
when you finish it up. It's oh gosh. What did Uh, did you watch the? It would have been like the last one. It's about the Hooded Justice where the episode is. Did you watch that?
No, the
Okay, all
last
right.
one I watched was they introduced the Asian woman that covers herself completely,
Yeah.
and the yeah, I'm not gonna get into spoilers,
Okay.
but
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. So it's anyways, you're not to it yet, but there's one episode in particular that I feel like is maybe the greatest single hour of like a film that I've ever seen. Like it really is. It's so good. I hope I don't wreck it for you or whatever by saying that, but I love it. And in the whole thing, it's just such an incredible take that he did on
it
the story
is.
and the way what they pulled from the original and what they didn't in the even the overarching like themes behind everything. It's just incredible. I really like it a lot. So I
Did
mean,
you hear Mark and Chad talk about it on Scary Thoughts? They
no.
referenced it when they were talking about Joker.
Oh
Um,
really?
and they both loved it.
Right.
And he said, Mark said, it's you literally do not know what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
Like
right. Yeah, for sure.
the directions that he shifts between moments is so. I mean, the guy slipping underneath the sewer. I
Right.
mean, I can do that without. That's not a spoiler, but like that is just wild.
Yeah.
Like, I was,
So totally. That's awesome.
whew.
Okay, well
Yeah,
yeah, and then that's
and the Joker.
the last one I have on the list is Joker. Yeah.
Yes. Incredible. I haven't purchased normally I stream films or I go to the movies to watch them, but I haven't purchased like a digital copy of a film in a very, very, very
Yeah.
long time. And I
Yeah.
purchased Joker because I want to
Nice.
rewatch it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's just something that I think you have to watch multiple times to pick up on stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, definitely, and I haven't done that yet either. But man, boy, I loved it so much. Like, it's definitely now being a few months away from it. Like, it's definitely my favorite comic book movie ever made, and it is maybe my favorite movie ever. Maybe, like, I feel like it might be there. It might be the number one. So I need a little bit more time to think about that take, but I just loved it so much. I think he acted
Yeah.
so
It's one of the great
incredibly well.
performances. Yeah.
Yeah, to put into that character, you know what I mean? It's like we don't deserve that. Like it was so good. And
Yeah.
and yeah, just really like when you go back and you know, don't want to spoil anything, but it that movie allows you to dissect it like so in an infinite amount of
Yeah.
ways. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so really, it's I, I enjoy movies a lot like that, the ones that are very open to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
And I think the more open to interpretation things are, lots of times the better they make you feel about the world because you fill in the cracks, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, around it. And
Yeah.
but yeah, just really incredible. And again, it's tough to talk about without spoilers.
Right. I
You
would
know?
say two things that he brought, like uh the Joker has never been both simultaneously this terrifying to me and sympathetic at the same time
Right?
in one character
Yeah.
because he's really both. You know,
Yeah.
it's that fine line of sympathy and like the straight. I don't even know. Like you don't know if it's. I mean, it's madness, but it's like you don't know if you're sympathetic towards it, and then crossing the line into violence and what is actually, I guess, morally. There's so many different arguments you can get, not
Right.
arguments, so many debates that you can get into in the context of the film. I mean, the Scary Thoughts episode of it was great because
It
they
was.
split it so many different ways. Yeah, it's something that I'm definitely gonna have to watch again and possibly again after that to really
Yeah.
hash it all out.
it's funny, like right after I saw it, I always like if I really enjoy something, I run home and I like hop on the internet and see what people who are smart think about it, and I try and glean a few ideas. And immediately after it came out, I feel like a lot of the conversation was around, I don't know what, uh, around like the nature of the reality of everything that's presented, right? And
Hmm.
what
What's
is
real and what's
real.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and there's so much there, right? Like in all the different things, if you especially you kind of reinspect some things. But again, I don't want to spoil anything. It's hard. But
I know.
then listening to their show months later, they really dissect the fact, not so much any of that, and they're more talking about like the culture that he exists in and how
Hmm.
that affects everything. And then and it is kind of funny because of how in the film he kind of develops a crew, so to speak, right?
Right.
Again, without spoiling anything, like that relationship is so like I don't know. I don't even know what to say, like how to explain it with, but I think you know what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
it's
His
that side of
his
it.
his ethos is so different than the people that he picks up around him. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then none of that. I think a lot of people didn't really touch on the fact that how tied. I didn't. It was more tied into Batman than I expected,
Hmm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree.
And that's really cool. I guess like one side of me says like I actually wish that they wouldn't do a sequel because just let this work stand on its own sort of
Exactly.
thing.
I feel the same way.
you know
Absolutely.
but but you could kind of convince me the other way if the sequel was Batman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Or another Batman character.
correct. Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right. So that could be cool. I don't know. We'll see. But
It would
anyways,
have
it
to
just
really be on that level for sure, though.
right.
It couldn't just be like a ham-fisted carbon copy. You know.
Sure. Yeah. And it's weird, like that whole side of like the business side of this is so strange because, before this movie was already in production when they announced that J.J. Abrams and James Gunn are partnering to make the DC universe, right? Like they're going to be in
Yeah.
charge of the DC film universe. And then this movie was the first movie that came out after that announcement happened, and then it became the most successful rated R movie of all time of any type, right?
Right.
So I really it's it that I feel like that timing is very fortuitous because that makes all the new minds have to look at the success of that movie and say this is the direction that we should go. And so hopefully that happens, but then it's weird that the follow-up is a movie that was also in production before they launched, which is the Birds of Prey movie, which
Right.
I don't want to judge it before I've seen it, but it
It's
to
part of
me
that old universe they had.
it looks awful. It looks like a Hot Topic like store made into a movie, and that's not appealing to me, right?
Yeah.
So it's hopefully though all that adds up to awesome things in the future. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I really I feel like they've got some really like the people who are running the show now. I like all the stuff that they've done. So
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know,
I'm fearful that this is a one-off. I'm
yeah,
scared that it is. That because of him, like he
sure. Oh
brought
yeah, sure.
so much. Like if you replaced him with anybody, I just don't think it would have been the same film.
Right.
Uh,
That's
he
absolutely
he injected so much into it that to try and continue in the same vein with another person doing another character, it's gonna be
right.
hard, man. It's
Yeah,
gonna be really hard to do.
for sure. Have you read about like how much they allowed him to ad lib everything? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no, I haven't read anything really about it.
yeah,
Not
you should
much.
research it a little bit. It's really cool. It is really cool. Yeah,
That laugh,
it's yeah, right.
that laugh,
Yeah,
that
for sure.
nervous tick of a like unhinged, I can't help it laugh
Yeah,
is just
definitely.
crazy.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool.
Cool.
That's my my quick hits, dude.
Quick hits, not quick, but hits.
Totally.
All right, so now we'll jump into some next gen console talk. We're all excited. This is a big year for video games, obviously, not just for games being released, but we're getting the beginning of the next gen is popping. So we don't know too much about the PS5. Um, we I read a little bit that we released a website, or a website went live today, I believe,
Did you
where
sign up?
it's I think I'm well. I figured that I was already signed up for Sony. Is this something
It's
separate?
different. Yeah, you got to put your email
Okay.
into it if you want the updates and stuff. So, what are
Uh,
you going to get the console when it's new, or what?
I don't know. At
Yeah,
500, they're expecting 500.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. That's
That's
cool. I mean, it's totally understandable. That's a huge chunk of money. The that's like the as a middle-aged man, that is the one thing that definitely I very much appreciate the woman that I married, because she puts up with me buying consoles on, like, I pick one console that I'll buy at a day one price because I just want to have new cool stuff, you know what I mean?
and
And
you're paying for the life of the console,
yeah,
really.
yeah, for sure, for
You
sure,
know,
definitely. I definitely get my worth out of it. That side of it's not, a thing.
right?
So, I'm not sure though yet what I'm going to buy. I'm always open until everybody lays all their cards on the table. I'm open to be swayed by
Yes.
what the different machines can do and stuff.
Well, I will say, I'll most likely I can trade my PS4 in, get a
Sure.
little knock off the price, and if
Yeah.
there's backwards compatibility, as they're saying, then I don't have to worry about just losing all my games, or
Yeah.
you know, if that's the case. But
Yep.
yeah, that's a huge issue for me. Like, is being able to play these games.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I agree. It's a huge issue to me too. I feel like I have been sold at this point in my life on having digital libraries instead of like collections that I stick on a shelf at some point.
hmm
And
yeah,
so, yeah, whichever, for me, that's probably the main thing. If one of them does it dramatically better than the other, if I can carry my library over from console to console easily, and
right.
then have assurance that in the future I can buy a game with them and it'll work on whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if
hmm
somebody really does that, because now on the Xbox, if you go into their store, there's original Xbox games sitting right next to the current Xbox One games, and you buy them all, and it looks just normal, and they all have tiles the same in the dashboard when you're looking at your
Yeah.
games and things like that. And the PlayStation really doesn't have anything like that. They have some onesie twosie PlayStation 2 games on there, but it's not the same thing. And
No.
they I guess that architecture of the PlayStation 3 made it so that streaming them is their best option, and that's the whole PlayStation Now deal,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like if they came out with the PS5 and said, like, if you get a PS5, do what Microsoft did and combine PlayStation Now with PlayStation Plus and knock like $5 off the price of the total or whatever,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then say, like, one way or another you're going to be able to build a library of PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 5 games, like, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
that's my pie in the sky hope. And if one of them does that, great, and the other one doesn't, that could deter me in a big way.
I think they have to do it.
Sure, I
You
feel like
know,
that too, but they've done silly things in the past when they come out with consoles. I mean,
that's true.
Microsoft buried themselves by acting like their console was a TV machine. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
what were they thinking? It was crazy. And in the PlayStation, that year that the PlayStation 3 got announced for $600 and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, versus a $300 machine that was almost as powerful. Like, that's when they lost from two to three or whatever. But
Yeah. It's true.
yeah, it's you know, it's funny because there's not a single like announced next gen game that I'm anticipating. I'm like a nerd for the hardware too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like lots of
Oh
times
yeah, yeah.
launch libraries are pretty garbage, you know what I mean? But but I still want to be there when it kicks off, you know?
That's true. I mean that backwards compatibility for me is going to affect how quickly I buy the next gen.
Yeah, right.
You know what it works like, what it looks like. I'm definitely gonna. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna listen to you and what your review is of it
Sure.
the day you
Yeah.
get it, and then I'm gonna make my decision based on that.
Right. Right, totally. Well, I guess the last thing I got to, if we're talking, this is the year. If somebody's watching this in 2040 or whatever, this is the year that the both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X will come out. And other than that, we don't really have any details, right? So,
Yeah.
the PlayStation 5 just today announced their website where we can sign up to be the first to learn about price and dates and things like that.
Yeah.
So without anybody having their cards on the table, still undecided at this point.
I did
You know.
see rumors about a PSVR 2 for the.
Oh yeah, yeah. People have been talking about that. I think that's pretty natural. Um,
Yeah.
that you say that we can kind of walk into that conversation. We've had the Oculus Quest around my house since Christmas, and so it's not as powerful as the Rift, but
Right.
it's wireless, right? So
Ah. How
so
is
it's
it?
it's interesting. I still at my core, I feel like the coolest things that we're going to get out of VR are not going to be video games. They're going to be like walking around on the Mars or on the
Yes.
bottom of the
Agreed.
ocean or stuff or just like virtual tourism and things like that. Like
Concerts.
yeah, yeah, right, exactly that. And so I just I don't know. For me, like, there still hasn't been the video game yet that has really truly convinced me. I will say that the Star Wars Vader Immortal stuff
Hmm.
is very very close to it. It was there were some moments in that are really good. But the thing is that's cool about it. So when I borrowed Jeff's PlayStation VR before, like the PlayStation VR, like
Hmm.
you basically have to have like a 8 by 8 foot space where you can stand in any game where you're moving around an environment, you like point at a spot and click a button and then it transports you there and then you're standing in that spot and then you look around and you click over the next spot. So
Oh.
that's how you like move around like a city or something like that
Yeah.
when you're sitting in your living room. And the cool thing about the Oculus that we have is that if you get a big enough space, you draw a line. You can see through it to begin with, and it has you draw an outline of the space that you can walk around in. And then whatever game you're in, if you get close to the edge of it, a grid kind of comes into the game, so you can see that you're almost at a wall. So
Oh.
if you have a big enough space, like in the Star Wars Vader Immortal, for example, you start in the spaceship in this areas that you can walk around in the spaceship are pretty big. And so with this thing being wireless, if you have a big enough space, you can actually walk around the whole thing while the
That's
headset's on.
awesome.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
don't have to do the point and click thing. So it
That's
makes a
cool.
really big difference for sure. Um, and I'm really looking forward to the Half-Life Alex is supposed to come out on it. So a new
Oh
Half-Life
wow.
game. You would hope if anybody can do some innovation that they can.
Yeah.
Um, and then also like I think comes out this week or something. There's a Walking Dead game that is killing it in reviews. Like everybody says that it's really
Yeah, I
really
saw that. I
yeah.
did see
So
that. Yeah.
so those two I'm kind of looking forward to, even though in general still not. I'd still rather sit on a couch with a TV with a nice TV in front of me than walk around in my video games. That's is the bottom line with that one for me.
Agreed.
Um, uh, and then yeah, the last thing I've had on this list was talk about Stadia a little bit.
Yes.
So a friend of mine at work let me. He got it. He got the founders pack, and when he got it, it comes with a buddy pass, and he let me use the buddy pass. And so I came home and hooked it up, and it's weird. It's so on.
I haven't heard anything about it since it came out.
Yeah, so that's weird also, right?
Yeah.
And on my pretty nice laptop, sitting right next to the modem, it was a terrible experience. Like it was, we played some Destiny, and I figured I had just assumed that when the bandwidth got low, that it would like fuzz up, kind of like when you're watching a movie on Netflix or something. How
Right.
you lose resolution for a minute and then it comes back.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It was straight choppy. Like there was
my
literal
God.
like really choppy parts that made it like really I couldn't believe it, right? Like, and I feel like I have probably some of the best internet in the country. Like, if I can't, if that's the experience that I have, people with poor internet are really gonna
They're never gonna
struggle with
that.
it. Yeah,
Right.
So it is what I thought it was, right? Like that's exactly what I thought would happen, and it did it. And so I just really don't understand why they would launch if it doesn't work. Like I don't
We're
get
not there yet. We're just
it.
not there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're playing on or what, but
I
it sounds like PS Now, to be honest. When we have to
right.
stream, of course, Hot Shots Golf World International,
Yep.
which is what we play almost every day. We are on the platinum, and we beat the game, and there's a guy that you have to play a match against after the game is over. So you're actually like really at the end, and he's just hard. He's impossible to beat. But an extra wrench in that is that there's a glitch. I mean, the glitch just comes at some point, and you never
Oh
know
really?
when. You're playing golf, and it could just be like you get to like hole 5, and then you're on a big drive, and then it just like glitches, and you're like, God damn it!
You have
Why
to
did I
restart?
even play the? Not restart, but my shot is screwed. Like I end
Oh,
up with a
gotcha.
bogey on the
Gotcha. Oh yeah,
course,
yeah, yeah. I see
and
what you're saying. It glitches when the meters are moving and stuff.
yeah, the
Oh
meters.
yeah, right.
It's no bueno. And
For sure.
we're going through the crowns, which is like you have to beat really tough conditions on each hole. Like you
Yeah.
got to do the GIR all the way through the course, or all these different things, and it makes it impossible.
You should
And
just buy
super
a
frustrating
PlayStation 3. I bet
just
you
to
can get a
finish it.
PlayStation
I
3
know.
for like $50 on Facebook Marketplace or something,
I dream about it. Like I'm like, what would happen if we didn't have this glitch? I
Yeah,
wonder, because we
yeah,
still play with it, and fight through it.
yeah,
But man, it's
totally.
frustrating. So I kind of I know what you're talking about a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, exactly. I just I don't get it. And that's why I feel like the Microsoft approach is much better. You can download everything, every single
Yes.
thing you can download, and that's the experience that I want. Especially, I'm willing to spend $500 to one of these stupid companies this fall, and you know what I mean. Like that's one of my primary things. Do not go into streaming if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, like that's why I don't understand that who at Stadia, who's who is the investor who's the one who says yes, our company is going to put $300 billion into this project when what they're looking at doesn't work in front of them. Like, I don't get that. That really blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like
What did they
there's a
do when they launched? Like, did they have like a press con? Did they do? I don't know. Did they show it off and did they show people playing it?
I mean, people, there's varying degrees of experiences with it, and there's varying, some games it doesn't matter if there's a little glitch here or there, right? Like,
Right.
I think there still is, if I'm gonna get try and be the devil's advocate for myself, there is a, a world where you don't have to buy a console at all, and you can just open a Chrome browser and check out the newest Assassin's Creed or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's people
Yeah.
out there in the world who that's worth it, so when they have, because apparently it's not out yet, but in the spring they're going to launch the free version of it, which it's like you can't get 4K, you can only get 1080 out of it. But I mean, at that point it's a little bit more of a compelling argument when it's free, and maybe you select games where it's not like high action where you care if it stutters a little here and there. You know what I mean? Like,
it's terrible.
Yeah, but it's still, like, to me it just boggles my mind that, if it stutters at all, why do you launch it? You know what I mean? I don't...
The method or the device should not curb the games that I play on it. Like, it should. I shouldn't be buying because I'm expecting a glitch or poor quality.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man. So,
all right. Well, yeah, that's cool. I think we pretty much chatted about everything that I got here.
I think that's it. We did want to say real quick our favorite. If you want to run through favorite games from our past.
Oh, sure.
Just rattle them off.
Yeah. Let's think about it.
Witcher 3 all day.
Sure. Witcher 3 is still my favorite video game of all time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I fantasize about it. I love that game so much.
Right.
Man. I can remember exact scenes and everything else.
I know, man. I do not envy the people making Cyberpunk. Like, it's an incredible amount of pressure I can imagine to try and live up to The Witcher 3, because I feel like it's just such a thing. Oh, and we also didn't talk about there was a pretty smally. There was a pretty lowly reported news article about CD Projekt Red patching up their relationship with the author.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And that means, they're working on Witcher 5 or Witcher 4 is what that means. So
that's exactly what they mean.
Yeah, and that's so awesome, so good. It was so weird that whole story was what it was, and it's good that hopefully they patched it up and everybody thinks everything's amicable now.
They would not have patched that, wasted their time patching that up if there was not an end goal in sight.
Oh yeah,
or something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's really, really awesome. I can't wait to see what the next game is like, and yeah. So anyways, Witcher 3, to me, like The Last of Us, really I played on my PlayStation 4 because I didn't have a PlayStation 3. I just had a 360 back then.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was the start of this generation, and that's my number 2 favorite game of all time, right? So to me, I put that in the same boat. And then I think just recently, God of War and Spider-Man, I think are right there with those games. I think they're just as good to stand up there with. So I feel like those are my favorite. I feel like those 4 really rise above the crowd.
Man,
for
God
sure.
of War. Oh. I saw that interview with the actor, and he was talking about the emotions that he had to pull up, and then he was like, I feel like it was a love letter to my kids, me saying I'm sorry. And I was like, oh my God. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. They were so good, right? They were really, really good. And to me, like, it was funny, like, because Corey wasn't that hot on it, to be honest, and he acted like right away he was like, oh, it's because of the dad-son story, right? Because I have sons, right?
I don't have a kid.
I know. Well, but for me, like, really, that wasn't the best part of the game. I feel like that stuff was good, but not like excellent if you really boil down the father-son stuff in there. But to me, it was just like the action was so great. It just was so fun. The whole time I was having fun, and by the end, I no specifics, but just the way that him and Atreus are like doing like acrobatics
Yes.
in between fighting these Goliaths and things like that, and the way that you partner with each other after the growth that their relationship had throughout the thing is just like, oh man, this is so great, you know. And
You're
then
making me want to
that,
play it again.
I
Oh.
know, I know. And then that doesn't even touch yet on the story, which was excellent, really excellent. I
I
feel
know.
like, you know, at towards the end when they really like broke the story wide open, I was blown away by what they did with it. I feel like,
The action was so fluent. I mean,
yeah,
throughout, it felt so seamless that you didn't know sort of what um, was action and what was like a cinematic in a lot of ways. I mean,
yeah,
it was just like it carried so well just throughout the entire game, and then the cinematics were just bonkers. I mean, I don't even know how you can put that much work into a game, to be honest. But
yeah,
it was like, my God, just so beautiful, just all the way through.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to
I
get that.
I thought of the I thought of the fifth game also was for me it was Destiny 2, like
Yeah, I never played the original Destiny. I know.
yeah, yeah, all of it. That was, yeah, I mean, if you include the first one in particular, there was a time and a place where I know my hours were over 300 in it before Destiny 2 came out, and that was kind of low for people who were really into it, you know what I mean? But I definitely
Jeez.
I was 100% in. At one point, it was all of my free time. It was all that I thought about, and it was cool because most of it was it really was based on the experiences that I had with strangers on the internet, like
Right.
that were magical. They were magical moments that me and Corey had with a bunch of dudes from Australia, you know, at 3 a.m. Like that were just like mind blowing experiences. Everybody like being very positive with each other and encouraging, and you know what I mean, and getting through some hardship together. It was
I
really strange.
I will say I'm not super high on multiplayer, but that raid that we did together was so much fun, dude. I enjoyed
Yeah,
the hell out of that.
yeah.
And we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
yeah. The it's interesting too to kind of diagnose that because the raids are the coolest. The raids are what is groundbreaking about that game. Like there were shooters online well before Destiny, right? But
Mhm.
the raids were making a role playing like experience in a shooter like that with
Yeah.
your friends that was balls hard like those are and had puzzles and things like that that you're trying to figure out and stuff was really cool. But on the flip side of it, after playing so much Destiny as well, like for you to just sit down and get through one with not a group of people that does it every single week is
Yeah.
like a 6 to 8 hour long experience, right? And I do not have that. I don't have that window of time in my life to play video games. I zero.
No,
That doesn't exist anymore, right?
it's true.
So for me, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, now when the new stuff comes out, I just play through the story content that they have, and then that's it for me until the next expansion comes out or whatever, and we play through the little story that's there, and then we stop. So,
Yeah.
but it
Monster
is.
Hunter also, right? Y'all
Oh,
y'all are high on Monster Hunter.
yeah, you're right about that. Monster Hunter was great. Monster Hunter was really great. Um, Monster Hunter for me was the first online experience that was also a uniquely Japanese experience as well.
Yeah.
Like every other online game that I played up until Monster Hunter was uh, very Western, right?
Mhm.
Actually, no, I take that back because Final Fantasy X was my first game that I really played online, and that's obviously Japanese AF, right? So, um, but yeah, that in recent time, right? Lately, it's been shooters and things like that that we play. We play the Division and we play games like that when we're playing online, and so to play something like Monster Hunter, which was like a hardcore weird role playing game, and
Yeah.
and speaking of which, the Geralt expansion
Uh-huh.
was incredible, incredible. incredible.
You mean what's the names? Blood of Stone or
No, when Geralt was in Monster Hunter.
Oh, in Monster Hunter, yes.
Yes, it was so great. I cannot explain. If you are fans of both of those things and you haven't played that, you have to load it up. Like download the game again, whatever it takes, and go through that because
That's
it is
awesome.
really, really great.
They
Because
should do
Geralt's
that more often, the crossovers.
Yeah, because he's a monster hunter, right? So it
Yeah.
makes complete sense, and he's like dead ass serious with these other characters who are like the goofiest, weirdest people
Cartoon
ever, right?
cats. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. And he just comes in and it's like he just runs shit with them. You know what I mean? Like none of that phases him.
That's
He's
pretty
all
funny,
business.
actually.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It really is great. So I would recommend it for sure.
Oh
For sure.
man, that is funny.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good
cool.
call out. Sure. Monster Hunter.
Yes. And not to leave Nintendo out, we talked about Breath of the Wild being amazing, but I have to give Odyssey some love too, man. I loved Odyssey. I thought,
Yeah.
you know, it does the best thing that a Mario game does. It was just fun. I
Yep.
mean, you just
For sure.
thoroughly enjoy like the cute little mechanics that are spread throughout and how to learn how to do something, and then yeah, I mean, I breezed through it. Like I flew through it faster than
Sure.
probably any game in the last 20 games that I played. But it was prototypical Mario on
Yeah.
in
I
a
played
very
every modern
positive way.
Mario. I love Mario. I'll definitely play Odyssey for sure. I
Yeah.
definitely will play that. You're right. We didn't talk about that earlier. And I would tell you, don't sleep on Luigi's Mansion, man.
No,
That
I'm getting three.
that
I
game
have to
is
wait.
so fun.
I'm waiting for the price to drop, and it's never going to drop. I'm just going to have to
Yeah.
buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nintendo games are like that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't played 3 yet, but those the last one, Dark Moon, was really, really excellent. I just love the Ghostbusters vacuum thing
Mhm.
is a gameplay mechanic that's so fun. It is so fun to do
Yeah.
that.
I can't.
And there's not other games like that, you know what I mean? Like it's unique and totally fun. Like
Yeah, that's
love
my next Switch game. So
it. All right,
cool.
man.
Well,
Well, that was
thanks for
great talking to you.
stopping by, Nate.
Yeah, nice to catch up.
Yes, thank you, and everybody else checking it out. If you want to leave a comment or not, or if you just want to watch, or if you want to hit us up on Twitter, we got
We're here
our
for it.
handles.
That's
Yep,
right.
debate
Oh,
with us. Let us know.
can I shill for my blog?
Absolutely, that's what it's here for.
That's right. So I started blogging. I thought that it would be less time consuming in that is true, but I still don't have the small amount of time that it takes to devote to making a blog. But I am committed to writing a few things this year. It's at what the heck is it? darthnader.wordpress.com. So the Darthnader is spelled DARTHN8R.wordpress.com. That'll get you
Nice.
there. Yeah.
Y'all should check it out. It's great writing, and the subject matter is perfect for anybody that's checked out our channel.
It's all right. I feel
people.
like I'm very self-conscious about. I don't think my writing is very good, but I do. To me, it's just a part. A blog is practice, really, for me, and I feel like I'm trying to read more and write more, and just because it's fun for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And hopefully, I can, even though I don't have I don't know. Well, I won't talk myself down too much, but I will say hopefully I can have a genuineness that even with the poor writing skills people will latch on to.
Enthusiasm will
Yeah.
carry. There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just one quick note, I'm gonna probably upload some more videos as the year goes on. Jeff and I talked about doing something. I'm sure Nate will drop back in for something in the future. It'll just be irregular and just when I'm feeling like doing something. So,
Thanks.
but yeah, check back here, and
Like
that's it. Thank y'all
subscribe.
for
Subscribe.
like, Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yes.
Do it.
All right. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thanks, Dirk.
All right, man.